I am David Zimmerman, CEO, Big River Resources. Today we're very delighted to have Farah Ahmad here to speak next to us. She is currently the Deputy Undersecretary for Rural Development at USDA. Prior to her appointment as Undersecretary, Ms. Ahmad held a number of positions at the USDA since 2015, focusing on economic opportunity. But most importantly, I'm told that I believe way back in 2008, Ms. Ahmad actually worked for then candidate Barack Obama in Iowa during the caucuses. So welcome back, and join me in welcoming Ms. Farah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here, and I want to start off by saying thank you to David for that kind introduction. Thanks to the Iowa Renewable Fuels Association, to Monty Shaw, but most importantly, thank you to all of you for being here. I think it's just such a testament to see such a huge crowd. I think I heard there were over 700 people here today, all dedicated to securing a wonderful clean energy future and the biofuels industry. It's always nice when my work keeps me close to home. I'm actually an Iowa native from the eastern part of the state. And, I was thinking about it on my way here today as I got to drive on Interstate 80. It reminded me of when I was a kid in eastern Iowa. And my parents' backyard looked over some cornfields and soybean fields, and I had no idea at that time that I was actually looking at our future, our clean energy future, a renewable, a resilient energy future. And what I was really floored by today, when I had a few moments before lunch, was walking through the trade show. And I had a few minutes to talk to innovators, producers, industry, and what I was most floored by was the partnership. And that partnership is not new. That partnership is really based on decades of partnership together. When long ago there was a need to help lower energy prices, and producers came together with industry and with technology to form what is today's amazing biofuels industry. And in a conversation I had with someone today, when I was actually looking at how the technology has helped advance this industry, I got to see a couple of those little plastic baggies filled with corn, filled with distiller grains, and I was thrilled to see how this industry has come together to really leave nothing behind. Leave no feedstock behind, leave no product behind, and just the innovation of using every single piece of product to help strengthen rural economies, to create new jobs. And that's why it's a real pleasure to be here today, to sit amongst American ingenuity, to sit amongst innovators like you. It actually makes me feel like you all should come up here instead of me and actually be talking about the great innovation. And I hope to sit here today and learn a little bit more from you. I am not a biofuels expert. As David said, I've got a really long title. It's Deputy Undersecretary for Rural Development at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I think, someone correct me, but I think if you count it out, it's about 10 words. What do those 10 words mean? Those 10 words mean that I have the distinct honor and pleasure of helping the Biden-Harris administration think every single day about rural prosperity, about rural economic development. And I know that the folks in this room are central to that rural prosperity. The producers in this room are central to that rural prosperity. And while at Rural Development, we focus on a little bit of everything across the economic development spectrum, from housing to water infrastructure to high-speed internet infrastructure. One really important piece of work that we do is supporting small producers, small businesses, and industries like this, because we know that when we do, it has ripple effects, not only in your community, in your region, in your state, but across this nation. And so I just wanted to stand here today and tell you that the Biden-Harris administration really values the contribution that the group of folks in this room is making today, not only to lower energy costs, not only to help us make that transition to a renewable and resilient clean energy economy, but that together we can focus on keeping more money in the hands of farmers and in the hands of consumers as we all work together. My focus in my role is about investing in rural America, and there are two key pieces of legislation that are helping me do that. Congress gets to do the hard job of passing those laws. The president gets the pleasure of working with Congress to sign those into law, and I get the pleasure of helping roll those programs out that are part of those laws into being. And so the two key pieces that I want to mention to you today that I hope that you will work with me in taking advantage of is the Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. Let me start with the Inflation Reduction Act. I know you've heard a little bit about it this morning, but what I want to say is this is an incredible opportunity. Sometimes I actually can't believe that it passed. The level of investment to help producers, to help us transition to clean energy is incredible. It's frankly a once-in-a-generation investment. And as I think about the Inflation Reduction Act, we're focused at USDA in how that act will help us do it with the help of biofuels, which plays such a critical role in our energy independence. And we want to work with you to take steps towards that. Now, I know that this administration has already showed its support for this industry in a couple of different ways, whether that was the waiver for E15 last summer, or the pandemic assistance that came out of the American Rescue Plan for biofuels producers. But the Inflation Reduction Act is an opportunity to really advance this industry in really important ways. That's investing in infrastructure and equipment, investing in innovation and technology to really expand this industry to do what I know all of you here want to do today, which is to make sure that we're providing clean fuels to the rest of this country and beyond. So what's in the Inflation Reduction Act for you? A couple of things that I want to mention from the USDA side of the house is the Higher Blends Infrastructure Program. So we actually have the program manager for that here. I'm going to have him stand up. Jeff Carpenter, raise your hand. If you've got technical questions, don't ask me. You got to go to Jeff on that one. But he is here. He's come from our national office specifically to be able to talk to you about that program. Now, it's been around for a couple of years, started in 2020. When we think about USDA, that's actually a program that's a little bit in its infancy in some ways. USDA was started in 1865 by President Abraham Lincoln. So we've got programs that have been around a long time. But this program that started just a few years ago is really a flagship program for rural development. And we're really excited that we get to implement this program and get it off the ground with an additional $500 million through the Inflation Reduction Act. That's really going to take this program from being in its young stages to really growing and expanding to meet the needs of everybody in this room today. Another piece that I wanted to mention, especially when I think about the opportunities for producers in this room, is our Rural Energy for America program. Now, this program has been around for a while. I'm just curious, is anyone in this room taking advantage of our Rural Energy for America program? All right, fantastic. So I know we got a couple of you. Hopefully I'll come back next year and I can get every hand in this room raised for that program, because it is such an incredible opportunity to help farmers, producers, and small businesses lower their energy costs through energy efficiency, through renewable energy systems on farm or on business. And while we've had the opportunity to deploy this program for a while at USDA, we haven't had the scale and the magnitude until the Inflation Reduction Act. So I think we usually have about $50 million or so in grants for that program, but we actually have $2 billion to get that program off the ground. And with your help and with the help of our partners in this room, we want to make sure that that program gets to every corner of every state to make sure that producers and businesses are taking advantage of it. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a really important program that I actually don't oversee, but our partner agencies do, which is the Partnership for Climate Smart Commodities. And if any of you in this room knows Secretary Vilsack, you know that this program is so important for him. It's really important to work with producers to make sure that we are helping expand markets, that producers can leverage taking advantage of lowering greenhouse gases and the benefits that come with it. And that program is one that I really hope everyone here takes advantage of to the benefit not only of producers, but of biomanufacturing, and as you do, that creates more jobs right here in Iowa. So I want to quote Secretary Vilsack, who couldn't be here today, but I think you all know he is a champion for the biofuels industry. And I heard him say that your biofuels do not only make a difference on the ground, it also makes a difference in the air. That's why in this administration, we've had a focus on sustainable aviation and the Fuel Grand Challenge around sustainable aviation. So we're working really closely together with Department of Energy and Department of Transportation to increase the production of sustainable aviation fuels to at least 3 billion gallons per year by 2030. I think that speaks to the reach of this industry, its impact not only on the daily consumer who's driving their car, but just the impact it can have on other industries and on this economy as a whole. And so I'm really proud of our participation in supporting you as part of the Biden-Harris administration. We cannot do it alone. We need to work with you. We want to work with you closer. We want to strengthen the partnerships between our administration and this industry, because we know that we can really leverage the entrepreneurial spirit that's here in this room to help secure a renewable and resilient clean energy future. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much. USDA is your partner, USDA is your friend, and we look forward to a continued partnership. Thank you so much.